Oh my goodness, sorry. I know I'm late again. Oops. Um, Look, I just had to stop to get a cup of tea. It's been a terrible morning. I'm really, really sorry. Just check. Um, Look, I can't apologise enough. I know I'm chairing today and I know we were meant to start this meeting 10 minutes ago, so I'm really, really sorry. But I've noticed there's a whole bunch of you not here. Yeah, look, we're at least three people missing. So, look, talk amongst yourselves. Let's see if we can get this meeting started in, let's say, 10 minutes, because I've got something really, really important to tell you and I want to wait till everybody's here. So, yeah, we'll start in a few minutes.
Is that just a little too familiar? You only have so many breaths. They shouldn't be lost on time-wasting meetings. Poorly run meetings result in disengagement, wasted time and money, and business objectives are not met. Here are 4 easy-to-implement tips for achieving more out of your next meeting. Number 1. Start on time. Every minute a meeting is delayed by people who are held up elsewhere, don't have reminders set on their phone or computers, stopped for coffee or conversation, or are just plain rude, a fairy stubs her toe in exasperation. I've never met anyone who loves a meeting or 5 to ruin their day by starting late. Time to stop the practice of wasting everyone's time. Meetings not well run are just a lot of hot air making us hyperventilate. Start on time every time, even if there's no one else in the room. The rabble will soon catch on that they are not that important and the world will continue without them. Number 2, create an agenda that works. The purpose of an agenda is more than just covering off a list of topics. The agenda should aim to get the most out of the time allotted to the meeting. To do this, the agenda should be structured around the group's attendance, energy level, and attention span. Properly structured, the first few meeting topics should help the participants begin to work as a group, starting on easy items before they tackle the more difficult ones. Try this simple bell curve approach. Start with the welcome and housekeeping. Where required, you might have to talk about fire escapes and breaks, if any, but get those phones to silent or vibrate. Then read the minutes, or at least a recap of the last meeting if there's no formal minutes. By the way, has anyone done any of those action items? Next, some announcements that are non-controversial stuff, short, things like upcoming events, and definitely time to introduce any new team members or meeting members. Next, an easy item. There might be more than one item included in this section, but again, non-controversial, things like leave submissions, project updates. We're right in the middle of it now. The hardest item is next, the topic that needs the most input and discussion. You know, the big, hairy, audacious goal, the big change implementation, the elephant in the room, perhaps. Why in the middle? Because latecomers have arrived and early leavers have not yet left. The attention is focused on the meeting by this time, and people are not yet concerned with their next appointment. Once decisions are reached and action items agreed, sum it up, ensure everyone was listening to the discussion and the conclusion and not looking at their emails. Action items are actually a good sign that the meeting wasn't a waste of time. There is progress, a direction. But you must make people accountable for those action items, with things like timeframes, clearly defined outcomes, consequences of lack of delivery, and an opportunity to give feedback if there are any issues in delivering on those action items, like they're on leave or they don't have access to data, people, etc. And please notify those who weren't at the meeting that an action item has been assigned to them. Oh, it happens. Now for the wind down. It's discussion-only items. These might also be a warm-up to the hardest item at the next meeting for vote or final discussion. We're nearly at the end, and it's time for the easiest items. The end of this meeting is the beginning of the next meeting. And on a positive note of agreement and encouragement, it's a good time for member recognition. Thank you. Congratulations for a job well done. Now close the meeting and check that delegates are happy with the outcomes. Number 3, give everyone a chance to speak. If a meeting delegate has no reason to say anything, why, oh why, did you include them in this? If you aren't seeking their thoughts, input, feedback or comment, it's not a meeting. It's an information session or a lecture. Delegates invited to a meeting should be there to contribute. If a delegate is an extrovert, the ones that like to talk, like me, silence must mean that others have nothing to say and they must fill that silence. This is because extroverts need to verbalise their ideas and process their thoughts. Try using a 3-minute timer for that thinking out loud. Keeps them on track and the meeting on time. Conversely, if the delegate is an introvert, the ones that hate to talk, silence means thinking. They need time to process the content just delivered to them by paper or presenter. If they don't have silence to think and then time to provide their considered opinion, they will shut down and maybe moan afterwards that they were not heard. Try a moment of quiet contemplation for all delegates to digest information. Number 4, finish on time. Don't you have somewhere else to be? A report to write, a project to advance, a budget to develop, clients to see? Who are those people standing outside waiting to use the room? Seriously, your late finish is now someone else's late start. Meetings aren't actually work, they just feel like it. And unless you structure meetings that deliver outcomes, the gathering is no more than people in a room pretending interest so they can bitch afterwards to colleagues about the lack of purpose of the meeting, as usual. Go on, give it a go. Be the start of a revolution. Oh, sorry, have to go. I'm late for a meeting.